Quote of the day: some days you bloom, some days you root, but both are part of growing into the garden you're meant to be. Even in stillness, you're becoming something beautiful. And let us not grow weary of doing good. For in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. That is your quote of the day. Now let's get right into this video. Now, NXT this week, it was a pretty fun episode. It wasn't as shocking or as, crazy as last week, but it was still a fun, entertaining episode nonetheless. We got a lot of high energy matches, some nice fast paced action, some really funny moments, some cool moments, some, enjoyable moments. It was just a fun episode overall, but nothing really too crazy. And for this review, I'm just going to stick to talking about the matches that we saw. And this isn't just because I forgot what happened in the backstage segments. It's definitely because I forgot what happened in the backstage segment. But yeah, I'm just gonna try to focus on the matches because the backstage segments, the little interviews and stuff like that, I don't remember all of them too much. I remember that we got to see Nia Jax at one point, which was woo. Always great when you see Nia, right? But anyhow, we got to see Nia Jax on the screen. We got to see a backstage altercation between Yokishi and Amara and Josh Briggs and Stax Lorenzo, which was pretty cool. We got to see an interaction between Santino Marella and Trick Williams as well as High Rise. So there was a lot of cool things that happened backstage. I just don't remember all of them, to great detail. But anyhow, though, let's just get right into this review. So for the third time on a WWE show, we got a Hulk Hogan tribute video. So we got that down on NXT as well, which was pretty cool, pretty, deserved or whatever. But yeah, so we got that for a third time this week, or a third time on a WWE show. So that happened. Anyhow, though, getting right into the show, into the review, into the action. So we kicked off with a Trick Williams and Javon Evans in ring. So Javon Evans, the young OG, gets in the ring and he says, "Yeah." Last week, the dead man told me to challenge the biggest dog in the yard. So gang, I'm out here solo dolo and I'm ready to do that. And out of nowhere, Trick Williams comes out and when he starts barking, he says, "Woof, woof. The biggest dog is here. Trick Willie is the hottest thing out right. So I suggest you mind your business while grown folks are talking." So he's basically warning Javon Evans that this isn't what you want. I'd think twice about, making this challenge. I'll think twice about the next words that come out your mouth, you should mind your business and shut up when grown folks are talking. He's basically sending a warning out to Javon Evans, And Javon Evans says, "Yo, slow your roll. I wasn't even talking about you, gang. I was talking about the ruler, Oba Femi, the NXT champion." And Trick Williams says, "Yo, don't disrespect me like that because Oba Femi wishes he was Trick Willie, And you know what? I might just go after Oba Femi's NXT championship and make myself a 2-time champion." And just Trick Williams is just talking this stuff, Rightfully so, he's champion. So he was just talking this stuff, disrespecting Javon Evans and Oba Femi in the same promo, which was really funny. It was really entertaining. But after Trick Williams says that, out of nowhere, Wesley and the High Rise end up coming out, They come out to back up Trick Williams, I guess they're like a group now, maybe not, but they come out to back up Trick Williams. And High Rise, Wesley, and Trick Williams, all of them end up just jumping and beating down Javon Evans, and they leave Javon Evans laid out. And that was your opener, and that was your first segment. After this, though, we got to our first match of the night, and it was Miss Parker, Jada Parker versus Jasmine Nix. And let me tell you, the crowd was really behind Jada Parker. The crowd had so much energy. They were so lively. They were so into this match. And this match overall was pretty fun, It was entertaining for what it was. It wasn't really too long. So yeah, it was a quick match, honestly. But anyway, so at the end of the match, after, some good back and forth, some good entertaining offense, Jada Parker got her moveset off. Jasmine Nix, she had some highlights. She had some cool spots, as well as Jada Parker, But at the end of the match, Jada Parker ended up hitting her finisher, the Hypnotic, on Jasmine Nix for the win. And Jada Parker win. After that, though, we got our second match of the night, and it was Tavion Heights versus Charlie Dempsey. And the whole story behind this is that, if Tavion Heights wins, he's no longer part of NQCC. He gets his, leave. He's allowed to leave, he gets his wish and he's no longer part of the group. He gets to go out on his own, do his own thing, be his own man, go after whatever gold he wants, stuff like that. So that was the whole story behind this. But if Tavion Heights does lose, though, and Charlie Dempsey wins, Tavion Heights can no longer complain about leaving the group. He has to just man up, suck it up, and stay in the group, and he does whatever Charlie Dempsey says, and that was basically the stakes of this match. But anyhow, though, this was a really fun match. This was really entertaining. And let me tell you, Tavion Heights' intensity in the ring is unmatched. Like his moveset, the aggression behind each move, each move feels like it's painful. Each move, like every time you see like him do something, you're just like, ow. You're like, ooh, man, it's like it looks painful. And like Tavion Heights, he has mastered his moveset to a T. It looks perfect. It looks, the right amount of aggression. It looks really good. And Tavion Heights is just so entertaining in the ring. He's a big man, a big powerhouse, but he's athletic and agile too, man. It's always fun watching him in these matches. But anyways, though, Tavion Heights ended up hitting his finisher, and he ended up pinning Charlie Dempsey for the win. And Tavion Heights is officially out of NQCC, no quarter catch crew. Tavion Heights is no longer part of the group. He gets to go out and do his own thing and be his own man. So that was a pretty nice moment, a pretty cool, heartwarming moment. He finally gets his wishes, and he's no longer in the group. So I'm curious to see where he goes from here, what the story is, and like what his goals are. So now it's cool to see him standing alone and see what his goals are, what he sets out to do. After that, though, we got an in-ring promo from Blake Monroe. Blake Monroe basically comes out and she's like just talking trash about Jordani Grace, JG. The muscle muffin Jordani Grace. She's just basically talking smack, and she's doing this confidently because Jordani Grace is out of the medical facility, injured from Jordani Grace DDTing her onto a steel chair. She's still out from that, though. She's nowhere near the arena. So Blake Monroe comes out all confident and cocky, and she just starts talking her mess, because nobody's gonna check her. Who's gonna check her? Jordani Grace is in the hospital. What you gonna do about it? Like, come on. So she just starts popping off and just starts talking, And then she basically says that the reason why she attacked Jordani Grace, JG, the muscle muffin, is because Jordani Grace is not worthy enough. She's not good enough. She's not a superstar. And this right here, Blake Monroe, this is what a real superstar looks like. What real star power looks like. And she says that Jordani Grace may be able to bench 350 pounds, but she can't carry a women's division. And Blake Monroe proceeded to show some old pictures of Jordani Grace, like old pictures before, like she was like old pictures. I mean, like old pictures, like when she was just an extra for WWE, and she showed pictures before Jordani Grace had her whole like physique transformation and stuff like that. So she was just kind of like, I don't want to call it body shaming, but like it was some sort of shaming. I just don't know what type of shaming it was, but like she was just basically shaming Jordan Grace, saying that, you're not worthy enough, you're not good enough, you're just a side character and that's all you'll ever be. So she was just basically saying that, After this happens, we get interruptions from Lola Vice, Miss Parker, Jada Parker, she comes out as well as Kalani Jordan. And they all just basically take shots at each other, And Blake Monroe ends up at the very end of the whole promo, she ends up attacking Kalani Jordan, and this is going to set up a match for next week. Blake Monroe versus Kalani Jordan, which should be a banger, It should be entertaining at the very least, but yeah. And dude, I'm telling you, I can't wait for Jordani Grace to come back. The look on Blake Monroe's face is going to be absolutely priceless. But anyhow, though, after this, we got our third match of the night, I believe. And it was Fallon Henley versus Lash Legend. And this was a very fun match as well. And Lash Legend completely dominated Fallon Henley throughout this match. Like most of it, like 80% of it was just Lash Legend, she's a big powerhouse, so understandably so, she was just ragdolling Fallon Henley throughout this whole match. And Fallon Henley did get some offense off, but it wasn't as effective as it could have been against somebody like her size and stuff like that. But like I said, Lash Legend absolutely dominated and destroyed Fallon Henley throughout this whole matchup. But surprisingly enough, near the end, due to interference from Nia Jax, woo, Nia, I'm not like most girls. Yeah, due to interruptions from Nia. And again, I'm just making jokes. I don't have anything against Nia Jax. But anyhow, though, due to interference from Nia Jax and the rest of Fatal Influence, Fallon Henley was able to steal the win, and she hits Lash Legend with her finisher, and she pins Lash Legend. And Fallon Henley beats Lash Legend. After this, we got our fourth match of the night, and it was the young OG, Javon Evans versus Wesley. And this match was basically two incredible in-ring performers, just going at it. And need I say more? I don't think I need to say more. This was without a doubt match of the night. This was so fun. This was so entertaining. And the high-flying moves were insane. These two, they showed up and showed out. And even with outside interference, the young OG, Javon Evans, ended up hitting his finisher, and he ended up picking up the win, and he pinned Wesley. And this, like I said, dude, this was a fun match. This was match of the night. Like the high flying moves from both Javon Evans and Wesley, dude, just shocking to see them happen. And just like every time you see something new or something off the top ropes, off the springboards, you're like, dude, what even is that, dude? Oh, this match, I can't even do it justice right now. This match was amazing. After the match, so after Javon Evans pins Wesley and he picks up the win, we get a big stare down between the young OG, Trick Williams, and the ruler, Oba Fenton. So the three men just have a big stare down, and we don't really know who Javon Evans is going to challenge yet. We don't know what Trick Williams is going to say yet, if he's going to go after Obafemi, and we don't know what Obafemi's intentions are. So like that's like a little cool cliffhanger. But after all that, though, we got to the main event of the night, and it was the man, the myth, the legend, the Cobra, Santino Marella versus All Ego Ethan Page. And let me just say this, Santino, you still got it. Clap, 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 clap. You still got it. This match was just all around fun, This match it was just like you just turn your brain off and you just enjoy the moment for what it was and for what it is. That's what this match was. It was a feel good match. I just enjoyed watching Santino in the ring, man. He was the R-Truth of my childhood, literally. Before R-Truth, I know R-Truth's been around for a while, but we had Santino too, And this just brought me back to good old days with Santino, John Cena, all the funny moments, Santino coming out dressed up and stuff like that, man. All the memories just flooded back, and I just turned off my brain and enjoyed this match for what it was. I knew good and well it wasn't going to be like anything near a 5-star classic, or anything near like match of the year contender. But I was like, I don't care what happens, what it is, what it isn't. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to relax, and I'm going to enjoy the moment while it's happening. Like I said, though, this match was just fun all around. Santino, he carried his part. He still has it. Like I said, Santino was slamming Ethan Page. He was hitting some like really entertaining moves, and it was a fun match. But sadly, though, our hero, Santino Marella, fell short. He wasn't able to defeat All Ego for the North American Championship. He wasn't able to pin All Ego. He wasn't able to absolutely manhandle Ethan Page. He wasn't able to destroy our NXT North American Champion, sadly. If I was a betting man, I would have bet 100 times over that Santino was going to win, No, I'm kidding, though. But, sadly, Santino wasn't able to win. He fell short, and Ethan Page hit his finisher on Santino for the win. And Ethan Page is still your North American champion, and Ethan Page retained. And that was your whole show. That was NXT, But overall, though, this show, like I said, it was just fun. It wasn't as crazy as last week. It was just a fun little laid back show. Still entertaining, still fun, still, watchable, still, high energy. It's still always a pleasure to watch NXT. Like I said, it's always a breath of fresh air. So nonetheless, I did enjoy it. But overall, I would rate this week's episode of NXT a solid, I want to say maybe a 7 out of 10. I did really enjoy it. Like I said, I enjoyed every match. I enjoyed all the moments. I enjoyed seeing an old legend back, I enjoyed all the little backstage altercations, the promos. It was a really fun show. So like I said, I'll rate it a 7 out of 10. But anyhow, though, that's my review and my breakdown of NXT this week. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for hearing me out. And most importantly, thank you for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to. And like, comment, and subscribe if you choose to. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'm out.